Hey guys, SpinoDude here and welcome back to another video. Today guys, we are going to be taking a look at a brand new 2019 Safari Ltd figure for the hashtag #HawaiiSafari campaign. So let's have our co-host Marvin bring it out. Thank you, Marvin. So today guys, I am super honored to be able to take a look at this. It is the 2019 Safari Ltd Carnotaurus. If you guys have been staying tuned to the channel, you'll remember that Safari sent me a mystery package that included two of their brand new 2019 figures, and I've had the honor to be able to reveal these two figures to the world for Safari Ltd. So that is awesome, and I want to send a massive thank you to Safari Ltd for sending these figures out to the channel, and I cannot wait to take a closer look at this awesome Carnotaurus. So without further ado guys, let's dive straight into the review. Before we take a closer look at the figure, here are a few quick facts about Carnotaurus itself. Carnotaurus sastri means meat-eating bull. It was an Abelisaurid theropod from the Cretaceous period of what is now South America. Carnotaurus is without doubt the most famous of the Abelisaurids, known for its short snout, brow horns, and absolutely tiny arms. The horns on its head were most likely used for display, and rows of scutes running down its body could have been used for extra protection while in combat. Carnotaurus was found in the La Colonia Formation in Argentina, and is known from a single near-complete skeleton with skin impressions. So without further ado guys, let's start taking a closer look at this very unique theropod. Alrighty guys, so here is the brand new 2019 Safari Ltd Carnotaurus. And for first impressions, I absolutely love this figure. I cannot deny it. To me, it feels naturalistic, it feels like a real animal, and I really like the color scheme overall. I think that might be my favorite part of this entire figure. But I just want to send a thank you to Safari Ltd once again for giving me the honor of being able to feature these figures on my channel prior to their actual release. I'm not sure when these figures are going to be available to the public, but do stay tuned to Safari Ltd on their social media platforms and do check their shops frequently because I'm sure these will be coming in stock fairly soon over the coming months. So why don't we zoom in and take a closer look at the sculpt work on this Carnotaurus. So first of all, the detail on this sculpt is very nicely done. It has little teensy tiny scales, if you can see them there on the camera, carved into the sculpt. Definitely reminds me of their Tylosaurus from 2017 with those absolutely minuscule tiny little scales. I also really love how they did the osteoderms, or the scutes, running down the body. You can see they absolutely cover the body here based on the skin impressions of Carnotaurus, of course, and those are really well sculpted in rows all the way down the back. I especially like this view from the top. It looks very wide around the chest but very thin around the head. I feel like the base of the tail could definitely have had a little more bulk because Carnotaurus had a fairly large tail. But yeah, definitely could use some more bulk down here. But the toned musculature in the limbs and the wrinkles and folds in the skin, around the joints especially, is really nicely done, as you can see there on the legs. This leg is pushing forward, the other one is pushing back. I also love the positioning of this foot on the back, and you can see that the feet are done with similar padding to the Tyrannosaurus Rex figure that they released, the Feathered T-Rex in 2017. I really like the padding and the details in the feet. I just feel like the feet are a little bit too large, and it does help with stability, especially with a more active pose like this. But I feel like I would have even liked if they went the route they went with their Giganotosaurus, for example, shrinking the feet down to the correct size and then putting a detailed base underneath it. I really wouldn't mind that at all. I know that bugs some people, but that's just my personal preference. And the claws are done nicely. As you can see, those are done in a gray color, and you can see the little dew claw on the back of each of the feet there. And here you can see the absolutely teeny tiny little arms that Carnotaurus is known for having. Those are pretty much in the correct position. A lot of representations I see them pointing almost horizontally backwards, but it looks alright to me. The only thing while the actual arm itself looks like it's the correct size, the fingers and the actual hand feels a little bit too large. I feel like if they shrunk that down, and the fingers themselves should just be tiny little nubs, and I don't think they would be spread out quite in a hand like this. But it's not too obvious in my opinion, simply because the arms are so tiny as it is, and they just kind of blend into the color scheme with this brown color here. So I think it's alright, not really a huge deal in my opinion. And going back to the tail has a very nice length and really nice flow to it. I really like this sort of flick off to the side here. I think that's nicely done. But like I said earlier, good to use a little bit more bulk at the base of the tail. I definitely feel it could. And of course, here is that beautiful head sculpt for the Carnotaurus. Basically spot on with the actual skull of the animal, except for the other side, and we'll get to that in just a second here. You can see the eye has a slight green tint to it, which I think is really nice. And of course, the horns on the head there are done in a brown color, and the nostrils are carved out on the front of the snout, as well as the ears on the back. And this Carnotaurus does have lips, to go with the fairly recent theory that carnivores sported lips, and underneath the lips you can still see the teeth of the Carnotaurus, which are pretty nicely done. I feel like the teeth could have had a little more attention put into them. Maybe. They are not sharp, so if people are worrying, if parents are worrying about play safety, teeth are not sharp at all. So that's a good thing. I just feel like they're basically just little bumps with some white paint over them. But still it works out. Looks fine to me. These are just very teensy tiny little details that I guess I'm just pointing out. The interior of the mouth has a really nice glossy coat over it, and it's all done in a dark fleshy pink color, and I think that's great. But I do have to say, on this side of the head, there's something about it that is a little bit off, and I think it has to do with the eye. I think the eye is just set back a little bit too far, maybe a little bit too high. I can't quite pinpoint it, but something is definitely off about this side of the head to me. But it's really not bad. Looks like a Carnotaurus. I guess I just prefer this side. Maybe it's because this eye is a little bit smaller, perhaps. I think that's it. I think this eye is a tiny bit smaller on this side. Anyway, personal preference. I really like this side of the head. I think that looks fantastic. Alright, colors on this figure. Absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Incredibly unique for this particular theropod dinosaur. I have not seen Carnotaurus portrayed in this color scheme before. I have seen it green, I have seen it orange and red, which of course is a very popular choice for this particular dinosaur, but I haven't seen a mixture of the two, which I think is great. It works out really well. We have this sort of faded, light, mossy olive green color for the base of the body, and then all of these dark brown markings. The back of the animal is all in this dark brown, and then we have the stripes almost in like a checkerboard pattern going all the way throughout, and then ending with some actual banding on the tail. I think that works really well, and then the head itself is done in this bold, bright orange color. And next to Safari's other figures, this is one of the brightest shades of color that they've chosen to include on a fairly larger dinosaur species. And I think it works out really well. This definitely feels like a male Carnotaurus to me because of the bright colors on the face. But I absolutely love the colors. I think they did a phenomenal job choosing them. And the pose on this figure, very dynamic. I like it. It just looks like this Carnotaurus is casually striding along, searching for its next victim, perhaps. It's nice. It's active, but it's casual at the same time, and I think it works really well. I really like the positioning of this foot, like I mentioned earlier. I think that adds a lot to the pose, to the realism of it. Just little tiny details like that that really stand out and show the effort put into actually sculpting this figure. Alright, so why don't we give this figure a quick measure. So Marvin, why don't you bring out the ruler? Thank you, Marvin. Alright, we've got our trusty flexi ruler now, so let's give this Carnotaurus a measure. So in terms of the length from the tip of the tail all the way to the tip of the snout, we're looking at about 10.5 inches, which is about 27 centimeters. And in terms of the height, at the highest point, which is the top of the head here, we are looking at about 3.5 inches, which is about 9.5, 10 centimeters. For comparison, I like to bring out a couple more South American dinosaurs, that being the 2018 Safari Ltd Amargasaurus and the 2017 Safari Ltd Giganotosaurus. I think these figures look good next to each other. My only thing is the Carnotaurus is really big. Just like the Amargasaurus, the figures are really big in comparison to Safari's other figures. Like the Giganotosaurus here is almost dwarfed in size next to the Amargasaurus and the Carnotaurus here. And I understand that Safari isn't going for a particular scale for their figure line, but I do know already that this is bothering some people that the Carnotaurus is so big, just like how the Amargasaurus is so big. But it doesn't bother me. That's just something I'm noting that other people are pointing out to me, especially over the past day or so since I revealed the figure on my channel. And one of my viewers, I forget your name, you commented on my unboxing, but you requested to see the Safari Ltd Sauropelta from 2015 next to the Carnotaurus. So there you go. Hope this helps. Alrighty guys, it's time for my overall rating on this figure, and I think that this brand new 2019 Safari Ltd Carnotaurus deserves 4 stars out of 5, an epic rating. I think Safari did an excellent job of capturing this dinosaur as a real animal, because it's such a common thing to see people depicting Carnotaurus as this angry looking demon dinosaur simply because of the horns on its head and everything, and it's very tempting to depict it in that manner. But Safari did stray from that, in my opinion. It feels like a real animal. I really like the look on the face. I really like the lips. I think that adds a lot to the personality of this figure. It feels real. It feels like a real animal. And other than looking like a bloodthirsty demon theropod creature, this feels more like an agile bulldog of the dinosaurs, in my opinion. But as far as complaints with this figure, nothing of them are major, as with most of Safari Ltd's figures. Very minor stuff. I have to say the eye on this side of the head, it's growing on me. I'm seeing more of the look of Carnotaurus. I still really like the look over here. I think that speaks Carnotaurus a little bit more to me. It's either the eye is slightly misplaced over here or it's just a tiny bit too large. But it's growing on me. I'm seeing more of Carnotaurus on this side of the face. But the biggest thing that detracts from this figure, in my opinion, is the slightly oversized feet. I just don't think they fit on this figure. With those large feet too, it feels like a larger, lumbering theropod, in my opinion. But Carnotaurus is thought to have been a very agile carnivore. It was thought to have been a sprinter, like the cheetah of the dinosaurs, as one of my friends likes to call it. But overall, I really have nothing to complain about, just some really small things, like I said, and this is definitely a wow-worthy figure. It is beautifully done, so Safari Ltd, you should be really proud of yourselves. You're doing awesome work. And I cannot wait to see what else Safari has in store for 2019. Well, there we go guys, that was today's look at the brand new 2019 Safari Ltd Carnotaurus. I think this figure is fantastic, and if you're a fan of Carnotaurus, I highly suggest picking this figure up when it's available. Do keep your eye on Safari Ltd's social media in the upcoming months to know when this figure will be available. And once this figure is available, if you want to get it for yourself, make sure to go to amazon.com/SafariLtd or www.safariltd.com and use the coupon code SpinoDude, SpinoDude, to get 10% off your next order. So anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Also leave a comment telling me what you think of this brand new Carnotaurus figure. So thank you so much guys for watching, and as always I will see you in my next video. Take care, and bye-bye.